Good morning. Welcome back to the Red Mic. Happy Wednesday. It's October 1st, 2025. Thanks for being here. Red Mic Messages are leadership and life lessons picked up from 25 years as a public servant, 16 years as a youth football coach and scouting volunteer, and 10 years as a mediocre athlete with far more heart than actual physical ability. Today's Red Mic message: do or do not. There is no try, right? Thank you, Yoda. Sometimes the toughest decisions aren't about what you do, but about what you don't. Now, play calling in football and decision making in business overlap more than a lot of people might realize. Both are all about choices under pressure, sometimes with incomplete information, and aligning execution with strategy. Good example of me making the decision to not do something is I'm not talking about the shutdown today. Just not going to do it. The only thing I'm doing, this is my American flag shirt that has the Declaration of Independence written into the lettering here. It's all, it's tacit, it's understated. I'm not talking about the shutdown. Okay, back to today's Red Mic message. Here are some direct parallels between making calls in football versus making calls in the working world, the business world. Strategy versus tactics. A coach might call a play based on a broader game plan, adapting to defensive looks, time on the clock, field position, stuff like that. Now, in business, you create a strategic plan, long-term goals, but you make decisions in meetings or negotiations or things like that. Sometimes the projects themselves are the plays or the business strategy, where you're actually saying, okay, now we're going to do X, Y, and Z. In both situations, you've got to fit the overall mission, winning, while adjusting to real-time conditions. Risk management. A coach will decide between a safe run, a risky deep pass, a trick play, a defensive scheme, stuff like that, depending on the down and distance and, again, the relative risk. Business leaders will weigh whether to pursue a more conservative option, just focusing on steady revenue, or being more aggressive, like new market expansion or something along those lines. The wrong risk at the wrong time can stall your momentum, or sometimes it can lose you the game. Personnel and strengths. In football, you don't call a deep ball play for a quarterback who has struggled with accuracy or touch, as a lot of coaches will say. You don't want to run an option if you don't have players that are mobile enough to handle the option pitch, but also blockers who are agile and fast enough to get out in front of them. I mean, you don't want to pitch it and then have them get hit immediately. In business, you've got to align your tasks with your team's strengths. Calling the right play in business means knowing your people, knowing what they can do, who's your best closer, who innovates, who thrives under pressure, who's able to adapt. Reading the defense or the market conditions. Coaches will watch for blitzes or coverage changes, and they will adjust their play calling on the fly. Business leaders are going to monitor their competitors. They're going to decide what they're going to do, sometimes based on customer behavior. A new rival product or a regulatory shift is the same as a blitz. You got to have the right counter call. You got to have the right protection. Sequencing and momentum. Plays are not random. You run certain plays to try to set up others later. Here's an example. We had a play that quite often would work. It was basically a pitch we had a really great running back this one year, and we would pitch the ball to him. Well, the defense figured out, okay, they're giving it to this guy more often than they're not. So we're going to spy this guy. We're going to ghost him. We're going to follow him everywhere he goes. So that pitch play, which early in the game got us some good runs, good distance, all of a sudden that pitch play was not as effective. So we pivoted, invented on the sideline a play we had not done. We called it a pitch pass. Basically, it was a running back option. So we pitched him the ball. Our tight end, kid named Austin, I've talked about Austin before, he did 1,000, 1,002, held his block, and then released and did a 5 and a slant, right? Just about the time that running back would have cut it upfield, he stopped and he threw Austin the ball. Touchdown, End of the game, we win. And this was in Lampasas, Texas, and man, we didn't think we were going to get out of there alive. Kid football, and you would have thought that it was the end of the world, man. We beat them, and they did not like that. It was ugly. So we read the defense, we read the field, we read the momentum. We set up that play by running that pitch over and over and over again. We created the rhythm. We created the unpredictability by then changing it. In business, you're going to do the same thing sometimes. A marketing campaign might set up, for example, a sales pitch that somebody's going to do weeks later. A pilot project might set up a broader rollout. You've got to be willing to make the plays as they're written, as they're called, but then shift it later into a different mindset, a different strategy. And then last but not least, I've got 2 more points. I'm sorry, jumping ahead. Situational awareness. A good play considers the down, the distance, the score, and the time left. I've alluded to that a little bit earlier. Business leaders are going to recognize context. They're going to recognize timing. A bold product launch might make sense in a growth phase, but if you're in a contraction or a crisis, that's not the time to come out with something new. Darrell Royal said, dance with the one that brung you, right? Okay, last but not least, accountability. At the end of the game, the coach is going to own it. Doesn't matter if the players just completely crap the bed. The coach is going to step up. He's going to say, I should have done a better job preparing them. We should have done a better job, XYZ. Stand up. Be the person in charge. You've got the job, so do it. Same thing in business. Give credit to your team for the good things. Take the blame for the bad things. Own the outcome of your decisions. If a staff member executes poorly, step up and say, you know what? They didn't have all the support they needed. I didn't prepare them properly. Stand up for your team. It will pay dividends in the long run. So all of those things, again, showing some parallels between sports and business. Play calling in football is decision-making under constraints. In business, it's the same thing. Align your strategy, align your talent, find the right timing, and maximize your chance of winning while minimizing your risk. And that's today's Red Mike message. I hope you found it interesting. I hope you find it helpful. I hope you're able to put some of these things in place in your own life, in your own business, in your own relationships. Thanks for being here. I would appreciate a like, a follow, and a share, regardless of what platform you're listening to or watching. I love you guys. I'll see you again tomorrow. Happy October. Don't forget, as always, life is short. Drink the bourbon. I'll see you.